The Bold and the Beautiful, Monday, September 15th. Explosive confrontations, desperate pleas, and shattered loyalties. Monday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful is not holding anything back. What begins as a quiet moment inside the Forrester Creations design office quickly turns into a volcanic eruption of rage, betrayal, and heartbreak. The battle lines are drawn. Loyalties are tested. And for Thomas Forrester, the news he receives sets him off like never before. Thomas storms into the office, fury blazing in his eyes, his chest heaving with disbelief. He has just heard the news, last thing he ever wanted to believe. Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan are married again. And not just engaged or considering reconciliation. Married. The words hit Thomas like a freight train, and he's not about to pretend to be okay with it. He bursts in, slamming the door behind him with enough force to shake the walls. Brooke is there, perfectly composed, almost expecting this confrontation. But Thomas is unhinged. He's been biting his tongue for far too long, watching his father be pulled back into Brooke's manipulative orbit time and again. He's had it. He's seen the damage Brooke has done to his mother, Taylor Hayes, to himself, to the entire Forrester family. "You're lying," Thomas growls, his voice raw with emotion. "Tell me you're lying." Brooke, ever the poised and practiced woman she is, lifts her hand calmly and flashes the ring. A dazzling display of gold and diamonds, as if to mock Thomas's plea. "I'm not lying, Thomas. I'm Mrs. Forrester," she replies coolly. The sight of that ring, final symbol of Ridge's decision, sets Thomas off even more. He can't believe it. He won't believe it. How could Ridge betray Taylor like this? How could he ignore everything they've built? All the promises made. But Brooke isn't having it. This isn't manipulation, Thomas. This is real. Ridge made a choice, his choice, and he chose me. Thomas explodes. His words are less reasoned now, more frantic. He accuses Brooke of twisting Ridge's heart, exploiting his weaknesses. He insists she's been playing a long game, and now she's won, but only for the moment. And then Ridge walks in. He steps into the war zone and sees the tension instantly. Brooke turns to him, her face calm but her eyes signaling she needs backup. Ridge sighs. He's exhausted, tired of fighting, tired of being caught between the two most dominant forces in his life, Brooke and Taylor. And now Thomas is dragging the war to his doorstep once again. But Ridge doesn't back down. "Thomas, if you're angry, be angry at me. Don't blame Brooke. I made this decision," Ridge says, trying to cool the fire raging inside his son. But Thomas is already past that point. "You chose her again. After everything. After Mom." Thomas can't accept it. He begs Ridge to tell him it's not real. That it's some kind of misunderstanding. That Brooke is lying like she always does. But Ridge is done with doubts. Done with bouncing back and forth. He shows Thomas his own ring. Simple. Final. "I married Brooke. She's my wife now. That's the truth. You don't have to like it, but you need to accept it." Thomas stands frozen, his breath shallow, his entire body trembling. He wants to scream, to lash out, to undo the past 24 hours. But it's done. And Ridge's voice carries a weight of finality that Thomas hasn't heard in a long time. This isn't Ridge the waffler. This is Ridge the decider. And he's made his call. As Thomas storms out, heartbroken and furious, Ridge is left to console Brooke, though she hardly seems shaken. She knew this storm was coming. And now it's passed through. Meanwhile, across town, the heartbreak continues in silence. At Eric Forrester's mansion, Taylor Hayes sits in stunned disbelief. The man she's loved for decades, the father of her children, has once again slipped through her fingers. Eric tries to be kind, to be understanding, but Taylor isn't in the mood for comfort. She's done crying. She's done playing the understanding ex. "You got what you wanted, Eric," she says bitterly. "Your son and Brooke back together. Happy now." Eric insists that all he wants is for Ridge to be happy. And maybe, just maybe, Ridge and Brooke are meant to be. Taylor scoffs. She's heard this song before. Every reunion ends the same way, with heartbreak, betrayal, and someone picking up the shattered pieces. She's just tired of it being her. Still, when the words come, when she finally hears the truth that Ridge and Brooke are married, not just reconciled, it hits her harder than she expected. It's not just about Ridge. It's about the years of hope. The false starts. The promises whispered in the dark. Gone. Eric reaches for her hand, but Taylor pulls away. You say they're meant to be, she says, her voice shaking. But how many times can something break before it can't be fixed? And just when you think the emotional turbulence is reaching its peak, we switch to a different kind of storm entirely. At Remy Price's apartment, Luna finds herself caught in another mess, this time one of her own making. She stumbles across Remy, frantic and distressed. He needs help. Something's gone wrong. And though he doesn't explain everything, it's clear he's in over his head. But Luna doesn't have time for another crisis. She's barely managing her own. Bill Spencer is breathing down her neck. Katie Logan wants answers. Lee Finnegan has been pushing too hard, demanding explanations that Luna isn't ready to give. And Will Spencer, he's been watching her every move, waiting for a slip up. Luna thought she had a plan. She thought she could control the narrative, manipulate the players. But now, it's unraveling, fast, and helping Remy might just be the final straw that tips everything out of balance. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers warn that Luna is headed for a downfall. Her carefully orchestrated scheme is crumbling. Her grip on the situation is slipping. And in the coming episodes, everything she's tried to build could be taken from her. Back at Forrester, Ridge is trying to calm the aftershocks. He speaks with Eric again, trying to justify the sudden marriage to Brooke. Eric listens, but there is hesitation. He may have supported the reunion in theory, but the fallout is heavier than he expected. Thomas is in a tailspin. Taylor is broken. And Brooke, she's acting like the queen who's finally reclaimed her throne. But not everyone's celebrating. Steffy Forrester hasn't weighed in yet, but when she does, you can expect another firestorm. She's Taylor's daughter, fiercely loyal, and deeply protective. Ridge might have chosen Brooke, but Steffy may not forgive him for abandoning her mother again. And if Thomas and Steffy align, Ridge could find himself estranged from both his children. And Brooke, for now, she's basking in the glow of victory. But even she knows that peace never lasts long in the Forrester universe, especially when marriages are rushed and hearts are still bleeding. The stage is set for more chaos, more betrayal, and more heartbreak. Because in The Bold and the Beautiful, nothing stays buried, no secret stays hidden, and no relationship is safe. The Bold and the Beautiful has never been short on emotional chaos, but this time, it's a full-on war. Ridge and Brooke's shockingly fast marriage has blown the doors off the already fragile Forrester family dynamic. And what follows is not just another love triangle fallout, it's a brutal reckoning that ripples through every corner of their lives, both personal and professional. Taylor is shattered. Thomas is furious. And Steffy, freshly returned, is ready for war. The Logan Forrester battle is back on, and this time, it might scorch everything in its path. It all began with Ridge making what seemed like a lightning-fast decision to marry Brooke again. No long discussions. No drawn-out proposal. Just a sudden pivot from years of indecision to a courthouse ceremony that blindsided everyone, especially Taylor. One moment she believed there was still hope. The next, she's hearing Ridge has said "I do not" to her. Not even with hesitation, but to Brooke Logan, the woman who's haunted every chapter of Taylor's love story for decades. Taylor doesn't just cry this time. She breaks. There's no quiet acceptance. No understanding nod. No whispered "I just want him to be happy." This betrayal doesn't just cut deep, it severs. She's done playing the serene, forgiving ex. The woman Ridge ran to when he needed comfort is gone. In her place stands someone angry, humiliated, and determined not to let it happen again. But Taylor isn't alone. Thomas, her son, has already reached a boiling point. The news of Ridge's marriage didn't just hurt, it detonated. His anger isn't just about loyalty to his mother. It's about a legacy, a family torn apart over and over by one woman. To Thomas, this isn't Ridge's decision, it's Brooke's manipulation. Another chapter in the endless saga of Brooke inserting herself where she doesn't belong and tearing the Forresters apart in the process. He refuses to accept it. He refuses to stay silent. He wants answers. And more than that, he wants accountability. So he does what Thomas does best, he goes straight to the source. Storming into Forrester Creations, he confronts Ridge with no filter, no patience. Demands fly. Accusations land hard. Why? How? What about Taylor? What about their family? Ridge tries to defend his choice. He says he followed his heart. But Thomas doesn't buy it. He sees weakness. He sees Brooke's strings. And as Ridge tries to explain, Thomas makes it clear, this isn't going away. He won't just roll over while his mother suffers. And then Steffi returns, fresh off the plane and already feeling the tension in the air. She hears the news and her reaction is instant. She doesn't congratulate. She doesn't pause. She goes straight to her mother, sees the devastation in her eyes, and feels something snap. Steffi has always been the fierce protector of their family, the one willing to go toe-to-toe with anyone who crosses the Forresters, especially the Logans. And this is war. The moment Steffi enters Forrester Creations, the temperature drops. Everyone feels it. She's not here for diplomacy. She's here for justice, for retribution, for answers. She tracks Ridge down and confronts him, her voice sharp, her words laced with anger. How could you do this to Mom? Again, Ridge tries to soften the blow, but Steffi isn't listening. Neither is Thomas. And Taylor, while quieter, stands with them. It's not just a family disagreement anymore. It's a front, a united force. And they want Ridge to face what he's done. Suddenly, the walls of Forrester Creations, usually echoing with creativity and elegance, are vibrating with fury and tension. Every meeting becomes a minefield. Every design decision is now personal. The Logan camp, with Brooke smugly confident in her new role as Ridge's wife, acts like they've won. But the Forresters aren't surrendering. Thomas starts challenging Brooke's presence in leadership meetings. Steffi reclaims her seat at the executive table and demands a shift in company direction. Brooke pushes back. Eric tries to stay neutral but is quickly dragged into the fray. Even Hope feels the ripples as Thomas begins distancing himself from her professionally, blaming her by association. Soon, design disputes are no longer about fabric and form. They're about control, about territory, about who really owns the Forrester legacy. The fashion house becomes a battlefield, every decision soaked in personal vendetta. Proposals are blocked not because they're flawed, but because they come from the wrong side. Brooke suggests a new campaign. Steffi shuts it down. Thomas presents a menswear line. Brooke questions its marketability. Meetings escalate into shouting matches. Deadlines are missed. The press starts picking up on the tension. Rumors swirl that Forrester Creations is imploding from the inside. Meanwhile, Ridge is caught in the middle, but this time, there's no place to hide. He chose his side. He put a ring on it. And now the consequences are crashing down. His children aren't speaking to him. His ex-wife is devastated. His marriage, while fresh, is already being tested. Brooke expects Ridge to defend her at every turn. The Forresters expect him to fix what he's broken. But Ridge can't do both. Not this time. As the days pass, the war only intensifies. The divide becomes a chasm. Steffi and Thomas begin considering drastic actions, possibly even pushing for Brooke to be ousted from the company altogether. Taylor, once reluctant, now supports the move. She doesn't belong here. Not in this family. Not in this company, she says. The idea gains momentum. And while Eric urges caution, he's not blind to the destruction unfolding before him. In the shadows, alliances begin to shift. Some employees whisper support for Steffi and Thomas. Others side with Brooke, citing her decades of influence and presence in the company. Even Zende and RJ feel the pressure, unsure where to stand. The company becomes a chessboard, every move calculated, every expression weighed. Family dinners are canceled. Texts go unanswered. Trust is eroded at every turn. Back at home, Taylor's heartbreak morphs into resolve. She refuses to be collateral damage. She begins reaching out to old allies, building her own strategy, possibly hinting at starting something separate, a new design house free from Logan interference. It's only a whisper for now, but the idea takes root. Steffi and Thomas, meanwhile, ramp up the pressure on Ridge. They demand he step down from key company decisions. They tell him he's compromised, that his marriage is clouding his judgment. Ridge resists, but the pressure mounts. For the first time in years, Ridge feels what it's like to be an outsider in his own family. And through it all, Brooke stands her ground. She reminds Ridge that they're married now, that they need to be a team, that this storm will pass. But even she feels the strain. Ridge isn't the man she thought he'd be once she had him. He's distracted, defensive, moody. Their honeymoon period is short-lived. By the end of the week, the situation reaches a boiling point. A board meeting is scheduled. Thomas and Steffi come prepared, presenting a motion to reassign executive roles citing conflict of interest and destabilization. Brooke is blindsided. Ridge is forced to choose again, this time not between two women, but between love and legacy. What happens next could redefine the company, the family, and the future of everyone involved. The war isn't just personal anymore. It's corporate. It's generational. And it's far from over. In The Bold and the Beautiful, nothing stays sacred. Not love, not loyalty, and certainly not family.